Welcome to Corinne's Picks. I'm Daniel Lanzilotta, your host. And tonight's guest, I'm actually speechless to have you here as a guest. I'm honored for you to be here as a guest. I'm with a legend, a Bronx legend, co-founder, along with his sister, Rosalind, of the Bronx Native here on Lincoln Avenue in the Bronx.
Yes.
It is such an honor to have you here, because every time I turn on my computer, my phone, who's steering me? Like, I just don't even know how to explain. Do you sleep?
No. But before I start anything, man, I want to start it with, can I get a yeah?
Yeah! Absolutely.
You already know. We got to start
We're
correct.
here.
But no, thank you for having me. I'm here. You know, I've been following you for a minute as well. You know, and love your art.
Thank you.
Love how you repurpose certain materials to tell a story and just do great work. And I'm happy to be here on BronxNet. You already know we're locked in forever. And let's make it happen, brother. Let's do it.
Beautiful, beautiful. So when I was following you, I was at Maisonetta, just up the block from the Bronx Native. It was a nice evening. Sitting outside, I was having guacamole and chips, and probably a beer.
Yeah.
And I started talking to the owner at the time, and I said, "Yeah, I'd love to meet him." And he goes, "You can." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "He's standing right behind you. You were literally standing behind me."
Yeah, yeah.
And then I got up, and I was like, "Oh my God, it was just magical." And here we are. That was before COVID.
Before your pre-COVID. Shout out to Misoneta. They're still going, making it happen in the block. And I remember that day vividly. You know what I mean?
It's just crazy.
And we had some great conversations. Love your energy. Just love everything about you. And now we're here. Now we're here, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I saw you starting, I was just like, that guy is just he's just off the charts. I mean, like, you're everywhere. And that to me is very impressive, because your energy level, then COVID happened, that was kind of scary, rocky area. And then you just went down. You just split the whole thing open. I'm like, wow.
It's the only way, though.
And now I saw you like just everywhere. And now just the other thing I just saw was the Bad Bunny lookalike.
Yes.
I was just like, that is
this weekend,
so great.
We had the lookalike contest, Bad Bunny lookalike contest, a movie, man. You know, and it was right there in the heart of 3rd Avenue, the hub, 149. It was, I'm still kind of processing everything, but it was an amazing event. The community had an amazing time. It was great. Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
I love that. It's kind of
thank you. We got to turn it up. You know, for me, it's like, how do we bring things that you don't normally see in the Bronx? Like, for instance, the lookalike contest trend. It's been going on in Manhattan. You know, they do it in Washington Square Park and all these other spaces, but I haven't seen it in the Bronx. You know, and that's kind of like part of the mission,
amount of Puerto Ricans.
You know, we have so many of them, but we had people from all over the city come by, Brooklyn, Jersey. We had some contestants that drove 3 hours just to be part of the event, and it went viral, and it was amazing. Bro.
That's a beautiful story. I love it. And so with that, you call yourself a creative social entrepreneur.
Yes.
And that's a creative social entrepreneur.
Yes. You know,
you're an activist, in my opinion, because that's what this show is supposed to be heading towards: artist, art, and activism.
Yes.
And activism shows up in many ways, and you certainly are an activist in my humble opinion.
Thank you.
Especially when you're giving away food and fulfilling and helping people who need to be fed.
Changing the narrative, making it happen.
Right. Lead into that, changing the narrative.
Yes.
Now, I'm born and raised in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And it's always been a issue. It's always been like defending my home. And no matter where I've been, you could take me out of the Bronx, but you can never, ever, you cannot get the Bronx out of me. It's not happening. It's not happening. This is my home. But for me, I grew up in the Northeast Bronx, in the separation of South Bronx. And I'm like, when you leave the Bronx, nobody wants to know about the South, the East, West Bronx. You're from. They just see you as the Bronx. So the Bronx for me is these are my people. These are my people. Just like if you're from another country and you identify with that ethnicity and nationalism. For me, it's like I'm from the Bronx.
You know, it's
that's
like,
it.
That's our people. That's our roots, our heritage, our foundation, and that's how I feel as well.
Today, everyone's Irish.
Yeah, today we turn it up for our Irish brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? Happy St. Patty's. It's
just what you do is just off the charts, man.
Thank you.
And then you keep topping yourself. Like you get up in the morning and go, how can I be?
How can I be better? How can I do more? I actually do. You know what I mean? I think to be a high level working human being, you need to continue to change that narrative. You need to continue to push the envelope. You need to continue to rebrand, to pivot, to engage and just find new ways to make it happen, especially in the world that we're living in now, right? A world that there's a new trend every week. There's a new every day there's a new challenge. There's a new celebrity, you know, there's a new song. And it's just like, how do we compete? And it's really by putting in that work, right? You have to, and sometimes, you know, you burn out yourself, you know what I mean, as artists, as entrepreneurs, but you have to work smarter than harder. You know, you got to learn that through experience and through the journey. But I am constantly telling myself, what's next? You know what I mean? How can I do more? How can I, you know, yes, we do the open mics on a monthly basis, and we've been doing it for 6-7 years. What can we do this year to make it better? How can we elevate it? How can we amplify? And, you know, that's just us locking in, you know, making it happen, thinking about it, and going with the times and seeing what's a vibe, what's not. You know, one thing that has kept us alive, I would say, is the fact that we are really on board with what's happening in pop culture, right? We know everything that's going on when it comes to music, fashion, art, and all these things, and we know how to implement it within our brand and also bring it to the Bronx, you know, which is part of the reason why we created this brand, was because we didn't see things that was going on in Manhattan, going on in Brooklyn, going on in other spaces. We wanted to bring it to the Bronx, and we've been able to do that in a successful way.
Without question.
Yes.
Without question. And I totally agree with you, because the Bronx is way more spread out and divided by, you know, that Cross Bronx Expressway thing. And that story right there, hello. And like Brooklyn is more centralized with neighborhoods that are very walkable. Maybe around Alexander Avenue and where you are with the store, there's some neighborhoods in there. Maybe around Arthur Avenue, there's some neighborhoods, but we're really spread out.
Yeah, it's like we got this neighborhood, but over, you know what I mean? It's a little different.
But to do what you've done in terms of branding us as this positive, upbeat, wonderful place, and people don't know how many wonderful things there are. We have here, Bronx Net. We have Lehman College. We have Bronx High School of Science, Fordham University, the Botanical Gardens, the zoo. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But yet, people still attach something to the Bronx. I won't mention what it is because they'll do that for me.
The media, this and that.
Being born and raised here, I was the first to go to college. I went to an Ivy League school. It was very a big deal for me. And when I got to this place, I was like, I don't know if I really belong here with these folks. And it was a challenge, and people expected something of me that I wasn't delivering on, which was the negativity, and I had to defend that constantly.
Through that same
even within my own family. My father did not recognize this monumental experience that I was doing because I had a vision, and I went on a full scholarship on top of it. And at my graduation, he's like, I didn't know you were going to go. I didn't know you were going to complete. I thought you were going to quit. I was like, what?
Wait, why would he say that?
Like, what? I mean, then 15 years later, I was at his house. He comes up and he goes, the guy at work said Carnegie Mellon University is really a great school. I said, you're too late. But it was internal. It was internal. The struggle to get past the stigma of this place without anyone realizing my core values, my being comes from here. My way of being with all kinds of people. Everybody, everybody is engaged. I engage with every person. I don't care where you're from. And guess where I get it? from the Bronx.
Now, you just cooked right now. Let's get it up, bro. Just clock it. You clocked that. That was amazing.
This is it. You know,
that was a beautiful
you could
analogy.
drop me anywhere, man. I'll get along with anybody from anywhere.
Yeah. It's a special thing, man. And I was talking about this too in another interview, and I'm sure you've had sancocho, right? Like Dominican sancocho, you know, Puerto Rican sancocho. You know, it's the stew that literally has everything in there, right? Got the yuca, got the
French.
potato. Yeah, you know, I'm sure every culture has their, but that's really what the Bronx is just a melting pot of so much incredible flavors, characters, people, stories. And I think when you really tap into that and really embrace it and really acknowledge it, and they're like, yo, I'm really from the Bronx. Like, I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm a different individual. You know what I mean? You know, they be like, yo, where you from? I'm not from New York City. I'm from the Bronx.
Mainland.
You know what I mean? I'm from the mainland.
We have a river. We have a river.
You know, shout out to the Bronx River. You know, shout out to the mainland. And shout out to us, man. And it's just like historically and systematically, we've had to go through so many things. And I think because of that is what makes us that much more stronger and resilient and powerful. And we need to tap into that even more. And I've learned that similar to you when I was in college, when I was in university, I was like the only Dominican kid from the Bronx, and you know, you feel some type of way, like, wow, do I belong here? Like,
exactly.
Where do I belong? And I remember I was in a crossroad, and I said to myself, what can I do? I can either, you know, tap into what my fellow peers and other students are on, or I could really dive into where I'm from, you know, my heritage, my blood, my people, my family, which is the Bronx, right? And that's exactly what I did. I dove, I went even deeper, and that became my identity. That became who I was, you know, in college. And I was telling them, like, yeah, I'm from the Bronx. They're like, from the Bronx? Wait a minute, what? Yeah, you know, you okay, Brody? Like, you need help? And I'm like, bro, it's not like that, you know what I mean? And I showed them what the Bronx truly is and really represented the Bronx accordingly while I was in college, and we continue to do that now, bro.
We're going to pick up from there once we go to the PSA.
Yes. Let's get it.
Welcome back to Corinne's Picks. I'm your host, Daniel Lanzilotta, and I'm here with legendary Amaurys Grullon of the Bronx Native, a legendary landmark here in the Bronx. I'm so proud and so happy to have you.
Thank you.
You make me proud.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
We need more of you.
Yes.
We need more of you for so many reasons.
Yes. Thank
but
you.
I'd really like to touch upon change the narrative.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Tell me about change the narrative.
Change the narrative, man. You know, it started, you know, it's an initiative that started through Bronx Native. And I found myself in certain interviews, certain conversations, utilizing that phrase, change the narrative. We're changing the narrative. What, you know what I mean? What's going on? What do we need to do? We need to change the narrative. And it just kind of stuck with me. I said, wow, that's a beautiful phrase, changing the narrative. Because a lot of times, being from communities like these, the narratives, and you're put into a box where your story has kind of already been told,
yes.
and you can't really create your own, movie, your own narrative, your own show, and then, for me,
self-determination.
Yes, for me, it was just like, how do I, first of all, break through that mentally, because that's what we all got to do. We got to be like, yes, we can first. Believe that we can, and then do it. And I believe from a very early age, like, look, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be an artist. I want to create something that has impact and that changes the narrative, and that's what we started doing. You know what I mean? And change the narrative. Entails a couple of different things. From giving out fresh produce from the Bronx Native shop, right? Vegetables, fruits. From curating open mics for up and coming artists that can perform, break bread, express themselves. Workshops, financial literacy sessions, collaborations, right? Block parties. How do we just elevate our people? How do we celebrate our people through art, through entrepreneurship, through experiences, and that's what changing the narrative means, and that's what we've been doing, and it's been a beautiful journey, and it's only the beginning, Brody. Yes.
So it's something like that, and you're creating these opportunities with new skills and visions, and people going and following their dreams and creating their own entrepreneurial
or through our social media platforms, you know what I mean?
Right.
Showcasing mom and pop shops, promoting small businesses, and then also just promoting pride. You know what I mean? When I was growing up in the Bronx, all I heard was negative things, not only from people here, people out there. I used to walk down the street like, oh, the Bronx is dirty, the Bronx is ugly. And I was always just like perplexed, like, bro, the Bronx is the most beautiful place on earth. Like, how can people even think this? How can, you know what I mean? But I understand, as I got older, the systems and the history and the media and just the representation. And, I come from a design background, right? I come from a branding background, marketing. That's where I went to school for, film, and how to create visual languages. How do you communicate effectively, through your art and through different mediums? And that's what I said to myself. I remember when I had that moment, like, what do I really want to do, right? I knew I wanted to be an artist and express. But I also wanted to create impact, social impact, and then I figured it out. I said, through my art, I'm going to change the narrative. You know what I mean? And that's what
that to me is incredible activism.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because where I'm trying to take this show is with, as I said to you, the name is changing to Artivation TV.
Artivation.
Artist, art, and activism.
Yes.
And the word activism to me doesn't mean you're out on the street jumping up and down. It means that you're taking action with some kind of cause where you're going to have an impact with whatever it is that you're using as your medium.
Yeah.
And so I had an artist on here several shows back who is a African-American guy, painter with an incredible palette.
Nice.
And he has a series of paintings called Black Men Reading.
Nice.
And I was looking at these paintings for about a year, and I was like, they captivated me. And I was like, wow, that's activism.
Yeah.
And I went up to him. I said, Larry, are you an activist? He goes, no. And I go, you are. Your paintings are the activism. That series of paintings,
the perspective
is like,
on certain,
they're so
ideologies and
impactful.
Spaces. Yeah.
So he was on, and he was like, afterwards he got in touch with me. He goes, man, I didn't realize it, but you're so right. So he changed my life. I changed his life,
Beautiful.
and then I hope that this show and what you're doing, becomes exponential.
Yes.
And then we're out there, because for me, when everyone's running around going resist, I'm like, that's basic physics. That's not a good thing. You don't want resistance in the circuit. You don't want resistance. You want conductivity. You want to talk to somebody that doesn't look like you, love like you, practice religious ceremonies like you, and maybe somebody you really don't want to ever know, but you make the effort to have a conversation. And the oppressor, to me, doesn't want anyone to be conductive.
To even have those conversations.
To have the conversation.
They want us to fight against each other.
They want to have that resistance. They want that friction, and they want that hostility. And look at the world, right? Now imagine if everybody was like, what's bugging you, man? Because in the Bronx, I told somebody the other day, I said, you know how I got out of a lot of things? I could talk my way out of it. Right? I managed, like, oh, I did this. The dude is like not happy with the situation. I can't let this go anywhere else. Either you're going to turn around and run, or you're going to have some kind of communication. That's being conductive.
Communication is everything.
Conductivity. Otherwise, it could have gone the other way.
Yes.
The other way is like resist, and bam, bad things happen, right? So that's been my platform for many years, and I get that from here. I get that from the Bronx. That ability to like look at the situation, size it up, and understand what folks are about.
And I'm a firm believer in that. You know, we have to, and it always, you know, I'm always like thinking about now and the future, right? We have to be smart about the way we organize and mobilize and create and have that action, right? And we have to think of new ways, you know. It's about, for me, I'm a firm believer in having conversations and creating solutions, right? We might not have all the answers right now, right? But best believe, you know what I mean? And if you don't give me a chair to be part of that table, I'm going to make my own chair. I'm going to make my own table. You know
Absolutely.
What I mean? But it is very important to have conversations, to create solutions, and to create action accordingly and the way it should be done. You know, and I hope, you know what I mean. I tell everyone, I preach this to everyone in the Bronx. We are stronger together. You know, I know we might have some differences here and there. But we need to figure out a way to come together and really fight the right fight. You know what I mean?
And you mean the right fight.
The right fight, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that lose your focus, that will distract you, that will make you feel, you know what I mean? We have to be smart, we have to be tactical, we have to figure things out, we have to have conversations, create solutions, and just fight the right fight, you know what I mean? And we have to do it, and we're gonna do it, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
No, I hear you. That's been my platform for a long time. And this is why I say to you, I wish there were more of you, because I can't figure out how you get to where you're going somewhere else after this, right?
Yeah, you know. Like, I mean, you know,
do you have a jetpack? I mean,
soon. But you know, I just, you know, for me, it's just like, I'm not somebody who's going to stay home. You know, I mean, you know, when I need to be home, locked in on my computer, working on designs, of course I'm going to do it. But we need to be outside. We need to be connecting. One thing with me is, like, I love connecting with other people, having convos. I love that face-to-face.
And you're talking to the other borough that has the brand. You talk to those folks.
You know, we talk to the other boroughs. It's all love in the end. You know, when I meet people from BK, you know, Manhattan, Harlem, you know, it's all love always. And I'm always saying this, that whatever you put out, you're going to receive that in return. And for me, I've always put out positivity. I've always put out love. I've always put out goodness. And I, you know, have received so many blessings and so much love and just so many things that, you know, me, you know, I'd be shocked, you know, like, wow, the fact that, you know, the Bad Bunny event, you know, in the hub, was seamlessly, you know what I mean? It was amazing. You know, when we do our other events, our collaborations, and it's just like, you know, first of all, I gotta thank God, gotta thank my family, my team, and the Bronx, you know, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Bronx, so yeah.
Wow. That's just all I have to say. I mean, I'm in awe of what you do and how you do it.
Thank you.
And your presence and your purpose and your vision. I pray that it becomes more and more contagious.
Yes.
And that you reap all that you sow and all the good that you do. Because like I said, I've been following you for a number of years now, and it's just it knocks me off my feet.
We're not stopping. You know, and it's, you know, thanks to people like you who keep us motivated. And you know, those words, you know, for people might be nothing, but you know, I take those words, and you know, I'm gonna think about this in the night. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna think about when those moments when I feel down, when I want to give up. Like, yo, there's a lot of people that are, you know what I mean, that are rooting for me. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that want to see the Bronx win, that want to see us in this different light. I got to keep going. I gotta keep making it happen. You know. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time of your schedule to be here.
Yes.
In the epicenter. Yes. I was just pondering the whole thing because that's how impactful you've been.
Yes. No, thank you, bro. And that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Just coming together and creating positive social impact, man. You know.
Well, you're certainly doing that. I know that that's without question. You're a real inspiration, and I hope that people take that to heart because you shine a new light on our borough.
That's amazing,
and it's quite bright.
Thank you so much.
Let's hope that things get better and better and better and better. I can't see why it wouldn't.
No. And I'm an optimist, so I'm always looking at the positive, you know what I mean? I'm always, yes, I could be going through some situations, I could be down, I could be this, but in the end of the day, Brody, there's a light in the end of the tunnel, you know what I mean? And you need all these moments to equip you with the right skills and the right resources and everything you need to keep going on the journey. And I always say this, the journey is the reward. I love the journey. I love being the process, the struggle, when you got to figure it out, the challenges.
Wow.
Those are the moments that really
Some people can't handle that. They want the reward.
They want it quick. They want it quick. Or they think they should just get it, you know what I mean? And nothing works like that.
Reminds me of a story,
It doesn't work like that, you know? But facts.
Thank you so much. We're going to wrap it up.
Let's do it.
Tell us, as if it was impossible to find you, how do we find you?
Yes, you could check us out, all social media platforms, The Bronx Native. You already know we're on everything. Come by the Bronx Native shop. You see it right behind us right here. It's on 127 Lincoln Avenue in the heart of the South Bronx, Mott Haven. And let's keep going, BX. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Shout out Bronx Net. Shout out everybody. And let's keep the movement going.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
And your team.
Yes.
Thank you.
Woo! Yeah.
I'ma show you how to party.